Morgan, with Nar Shabbos, Sar B'Tevis, Yafech Yom Tevim. It's a special day in the sense that it's the only kindness that we fast on Erev Shabbos, or if it would come on Shabbos, even on Shabbos, according to what we learn. But it should be a day of Simcha, and that's Hashem. It should be the opposite of what it is. It should be a game of Geulah. Today we are in the middle of Pesulei Hamukdashim, and Perek Beis, Gimel Daled, emphasize Perek Gimel, and focus on two halachas that are there, and that seem to be sort of contradictory, possibly. The first halacha in Perek Gimel, halacha Aleph, is Kodshei Kodeshim sheshachtem b'reishim Mizbeach kilu shachtem b'tzafim shnema v'zavachta olav eselesecha v'shlomecha. The Kodshei Kodeshim that are that if you shech them b'reishim Mizbeach, listen Mishnah also in Zvachim. Now use an interesting lesson in the Mishnah kilu shachtem b'tzafim. It's as if you shech them b'tzafim, as if. What do we need to suffer? We learn a pasuk that this is good. You should shech on it. So we learn from this word on. The whole Mizbeach is ra'ui for the shchita of the oila and shchita shlam. Okay. We'll talk about this is Latchila b'diavad. The Lashon of the Rambam is mashma ro. It's not only that. Hashem asks, it seems like a mitzvah. That would be a mitzvah l'chatchila, but l'vachta. Why isn't it a mitzvah l'chatchila? So we learn from the pasuk v'zavachta olav means olav mamish. Okay, comes halacha chav beis, and he writes. First of all, it's an interesting structure of the halacha, but eventually he gets to the same pasuk. Mizbeach shenivga. Mizbeach has to be exact. If it has a begam, got broken off a piece, nifselu kol hakotshim sheyisham shchutim lamikdash adayin lemizrikam. If you had shechted karbanos, everything that's there in the Mishkan becomes no good. Everything that's in the Mishkan, everything in the Mizbeach is no good. Because what we see here he says two things. That's enough of a story. I'm stuck. I have no Mizbeach. And the Nemar, which is the Gemara, and the Gemara brings this. The Gemara doesn't say the first thing, the Gemara says the same thing. The olav is eileisecha, the es shlomecha, klema tizbach. So here we're touching olav, not on it. We're touching olav that it is bishvila. Rashi says beginay. You're shechting with the need of the mizbeach available. Tizbach v'hu oimed b'tikuna v'lei pogum. The mizbeach should be complete and not pogum. It's obvious that the same pasuk was of Achta olav. How's it teaching the two things? One is olav meaning literally on it. Here we're saying on behalf of the Mizbeach. It has to be by it. Okay. Now this is a Gemara. The Gemara says olav Achta Zaveach. Now the Gemara is a very interesting. Gemara in Rachim says that. The Minayin was actually never that it's possible because that's the Vacht all about the Zaveach. The Shecht on the Mizbeach. Wait a minute, we just got through Aleph saying yes, all about the Zaveach. Other than Chacht Aleph. Ella, Kishu Shalom Alei Kishu Chas. You can only Shech when the Mizbeach is ready and not. So first of all, in halacha chav beis, there's a number of issues with this. First of all, this issue, how do we learn from the same pasuk? Second is that it says, the Rambam says two reasons. Sorry, because he needs that reason, because it doesn't say v'zavachta, doesn't say zrika. It says zvicha. So how do we transfer that to zrika? And if it is, if you'd have a svarish ain't sham mizbeach, what does he need v'zavachta? What does he need both? Again, then it's a effect, and it's asked, and there are answers to it. We'll come to it. So again, what is the v'zavachta? Mashmil chatchila, and even a mitzvah, perhaps that's what the Achreinim type. And yet, Gemara seems to be the kachim shechting. The Rabbi Moshe Perlstein. It's good. Not that you should check there. And the Gemara's question, so Taisvis asked this question. Tais says the reason we don't check on top of the Mizbeach with Rabbana. So it's not going to be nice for the Mizbeach. But it can't be the reason of the Gemara. The Gemara asks all about the Mizbeach. It's not true. Okay. Yeah. Then we had this problem with the two reasons for Nifgam. And then the problem is, where does the pasuk have anything to do with Zrika? It has to do with Shechting, not with Zrika. And then the stira of the pasuk was avachta. How do you have the same words meaning the same thing? They're learning two different things. And it's contradictory in the way they learn it, as we said. Taisus and Zvachim asked this question of how do we learn from the Zavachta Olav, all about the Zaveach, when before we didn't see. Taisus is medaye that the Zavachta Olav is mashma mitzvah l'zbeach. And the Gemara is asking, v'chi mitzvah l'zbeach? That's everything. All about the Zaveach. But the Rambam doesn't sound like that. The Rambam doesn't use those words. And also the Rambam, when he teaches the Chatchila, he teaches about the Sheruya, the Shechita, not that there's any requirement. So why? Taisus and Sukkah, Daf Lamed Gimel, asks the question. Why are the Kodeshim that are Nishchat there when it's Nivga, Mizbeach? Why are they possible? Because of Hayil the Nitche Yitche. Because the Gemara, he wants to learn that pshat. It's because of Hayil the Nitche Yitche. Since it's Dochui, now again, it's not clear in the Rambam that he says that, because again he brings a pasuk. As Takash, the rule is that Hayil the Nitche Yitche is only a problem when something is not fixable. It's not biyodei l'sakin. You don't have the ability to correct. But if you have the ability to correct, then it should be the halacha that it's not nitche, because it's not nitche, it's never nitche. You can always correct. Taisa doesn't give an answer. It says, when you say biyodei l'sakin or not, it doesn't write any difference. It doesn't explain. The brisker of in Menachos, says for kids. This is exactly what the Rambam is saying. If it would be because of Nitche, then I'll start to is biyodei l'sakin. But since it's not for Nitche, it's for the sake of what's it called? Since it's from the Zavachta, it's Xeris HaKosu. So helfnishkeit Nitche. It's a nice answer. It answers that problem at least. The only problem is, how does that help Zrika? Zavachta is not Zrika. Zavachta is Shechita. So if the pasuk is talking about Shechita, where do you get this new halacha that he is developing that Rambam, that Zrika, that where do you get it from? Okay, so I would like to suggest an interesting thing. There's a Mechilta Rabbi Shmuel in Parshas Yisro. Now that Mechilta is also a Mechilta Rajmi. It's a Medrash, it's a Zutra, but the Mechilta is written out clear. Rashi in Chumash and Parshas Yisro brings it very much Bekitzer. But in the Mechilta, it's not brought Bekitzer. It's brought very, very clear, very, very explained. Busted us. Brings the pasuk with Zavachta Olav. Olav kinegde. Olav doesn't mean Olav. You don't shecht on the Mizbeach. You shecht by the Mizbeach. Opposite. Dr. Pesik, the Zutra, the Mechilta Rabbi Yishmael. Ata oimer Olav kinegdoi. Ayinela Olav mami. Kmashmoi. Maybe it means mamish Olav. And he gives us svar. Now listen to this. This is my opening svar. Ma in Tzofen HaMizbeach. If the north side of the Mizbeach, she'einei kosher lekapara. The Tzofen of the north side of the Mizbeach. I mean, we're not in the Mizbeach itself, but off the Mizbeach. The north part, north of the Mizbeach, which is in Nazara, is not kosher for kapara, but it's kosher l'shchita. Roish HaMizbeach. Shu kosher l'chapara, dinu sheyuchsher l'shchita. For sure, if it's kosher l'chapara, it's going to be kosher l'shchita. And the Gemara goes, and then he has a yechiach, and this back and forth. Talmud Leimer, listen to this. V'sisa oleisecha habosor v'hadam al Mizbeach Hashem Elokecha. Habosor v'hadam b'reish HaMizbeach v'ein shchita b'reish HaMizbeach. The bus of a dam can be on the Reish Mizbeach, but not shchita. Meaning aktora and zrika. Rabbi Yosi like too af lishchit, af and the customer say, "Hey, I'm you can also do this." Okay, so one thing we see clear that there's a very good reason. I don't know why Tosfos doesn't mention this, but there's a reason why it's with the evidence. It's with the evidence because that's not what the Mizbeach is for. The Ikar in the Mizbeach is a sisa l'secha masav adam. Okay. And to the point that the Mechilta Rabbi Shmuel wants to say that you can't even do tzlicha because it's not shaykh, it's made for masav adam. Now, we learned that it, like Rabbi Yosi, af. But it's not. That's not what it's for. So that answers the l'chatchila midaraisa, the evidence midaraisa. And that's why the Rambam writes, "Ilu shachtem b'tzofim," meaning that it doesn't belong here. It's not ru'uyin mitzad mizbeach. It's ru'uyin because it's also shachtem b'tzofim. It's as if it's shachtem b'tzofim. But this is not your place. This is not the place. But I don't understand this mechilta. Think about it. What's the kol v'chein? Madach tzofim in Azora is good for shechita, but not good for kapara. The Mizbeach, that's good for kapara. Ain't din, good for shchita. He and his senes. The Mizbeach is made for kapara. The Mizbeach is not made for shchita. Remember a couple of weeks ago we had that Odom in Mokim Kaparos in Nivra. That's what the Mizbeach is. The Mizbeach is a Mokim Kapara. It's not Mokim shchita. You go through the whole sugya there, that mechilta, the kashas. This all seems to me that there's a shaykhus to kapara. What kapara? What kapara? When you shchita, we had a shchita coming to kapara. A place of kapara belongs kapara. A place of shchita belongs shchita. What's the problem? There you said there's a mokum kapara, there's a mokum shchita. What kind of kabbalah is that? A korchuch you have to say. Now again, I'm saying a korchuch, even though I don't know if it's a korchuch, but it seems that shchita is considered part of the kapara. And that's the reason why there's mokum for kabbalah. What's the svara behind it? I'll tell you svaras. Shchita begins the process. Without shchita, you don't have a hechsher of the dam. It's a matter of the dam. Therefore, it's part of the kapara. It's a process. Now, the kapara is a process. Shchita through zrika, and even later, there's aspects of kapara. Aktora has an aspect of kapara. Achila, as we learned recently, as aspect of kapara. But the word shlicha is considered a chelik of the kapara, and that's why there's a kavachayman. If kapara gradle can be a biration as beya, a chelik of the kapara that also has micha in it, that's kosher in other places. That's the kavachayman. Can go a step further after the limud v'zavach ta'olam that shakol Mizbeach ro'i l'shchita licked in them. Again, this doesn't fit. This is not answering the mechilta, but it brings out the nakuda that shchita has a connection to kapara. Why? Because kol inyan Mizbeach is we said is kapara. Other than makom kaparas in here. This is makom kaparas. So when the Torah says ruya for shchita, make the shchita shayich to kapara. Oh, okay. Now makes sense. It's not a stira. V'zavachta olav. Bakir teaches us that. V'zavachta olav teaches us that it's shayich to kapara. If it's shayich to kapara, then liktem v'zavachta olav that it needs to be ready for kapara too. In other words, kapara is a process, as we say. The kapara is one process, a long process that starts with shchita, ends with zrika. If it's not roi, that's what you want to say. V'zavachta olav is mele is a shayich, is a chelik of kapara. V'zavachta olav, it has to be b'tikuna. It's the same idea. It's all based on the fact that this doll licked a process of the major process is zrika and ultimately zrika. So now we can understand, and that might be what the brisker meant, but just get back to it. You see, being the time lifsel kotchim, shlenizir dom and mishum ein sham Mizbeach lizir kol. He brings the pasuk zavachta. There's Obazach. Why is there a problem with zavachta? Because the kapara has been severed. Since there is no Mizbeach, you can't do kapara. There's no v'zavach. If the kapara has been severed through if the v'zavachta kapara has been severed when there's no Mizbeach, kol shkein, the zrika kapara has been severed. When the dam is there and it can't go on the Mizbeach, zrika is severed. You can't. In other words, what is the concern with zrika not having a Mizbeach? Because the process of kapara doesn't exist. So if you have dam, it becomes possible that the process of kapara doesn't exist. It's the same idea. So even though there it says zvicha teaches you that you need the process of kapara to be ready for kapara from beginning to end. And the mele is good, as the brisker said. It doesn't help the other l'sak. Because what's the other l'sak going to help? It's a din. It's not a stamach dichui. It's a din of you lack in the process of kapara. And since you're lacking in the process of kapara, it becomes nidcha and you can't continue. That would fit the two halachas around. There's a third halacha, which I didn't get into, which has a lot of connection to this. And that is halacha chavei. And there he talks about achila. And he says that you can't eat while the Mizbeach is nid. There it's also based on such a type of limud, and it connects very well to what's going on here, but I don't want to get into it. It's Hatzman. But when you learn it, you can take a look and you'll hopefully see connections. Hatzlacha Rabba, Aguten Shabbos, und so sein Shabbos, und Shabbos Shalom, und Beirach, and Shabi, as the Yom Simchaschem Elah Shabbos, sein ist stark.